In the dim corridors of pre-war Europe, beneath the hum of laboratories and the distant echo of marching boots, a new kind of weapon was being perfected. Not of steel or fire, but of silence. The German Enigma machine, a small, unassuming box of rotes and keys, stood as a triumph of engineering and secrecy. To the eye, it was little more than a typewriter. But every keystroke transformed ordinary language into a cipher so intricate that it seemed untouchable by human reason. Each day, with every sunrise, its internal settings shifted, 26 letters rearranged in billions of possible combinations, ensuring that even yesterday's code would be meaningless tomorrow. Across Europe, messages pulsed invisibly through the air, carrying orders for fleets, invasions, and assassinations. Entire battles were directed by signals no one but the Reich could understand. The Allies intercepted them, of course, lines of encrypted characters scrolling endlessly across paper. But to their ears, it was the language of a machine that mocked human comprehension. Within this hidden stream of numbers and symbols, the fate of nations hung suspended. As the narration builds, the audience feels both admiration and unease. Enigma was more than a device. It was an idea, the embodiment of human genius turned toward absolute control. It gave Germany confidence that its secrets were untouchable, that its enemies would drown in confusion. The irony was haunting. A machine built to ensure order became an instrument of chaos. And as war loomed on the horizon, one truth emerged from the shadows: that the battle to break Enigma would not be fought on the battlefield, but in the realm of pure intellect. But across the Channel, in the damp halls of an English estate, another kind of war had already begun. One fought not with guns, but with logic. Across the English countryside, shrouded in mist and secrecy, lies an old Victorian estate. Quiet, almost ordinary. To the casual passerby, Bletchley Park seemed nothing more than another stately home, spared from the war's destruction. But behind its brick walls and ivy-covered windows, history's greatest intellectual battle was being waged. Inside, the hum of typewriters, the shuffle of papers, and the soft clatter of teacups became the sounds of a silent war. The men and women of Bletchley were unlike any army the world had ever seen. Mathematicians, linguists, philosophers, and chess masters bound not by rank, but by intellect and urgency. Among them was a young, introverted mathematician, Alan Turing. With his sharp mind and eccentric habits, he was both admired and misunderstood. Yet it was Turing's relentless pursuit of logic and pattern that would eventually reshape the very concept of warfare. Alongside him, figures like Gordon Welchman, Dilly Knox, and Joan Clark worked tirelessly, translating fragments of intercepted messages into fleeting moments of hope. Every code broken meant lives saved at sea, convoys protected, and missions redirected. A wooden and metal instrument that mirrored the German original in every movement. For the first time, the secret code of the Reich had a rival. Yet history would grant them little recognition. When war erupted in 1939 and Poland fell, these mathematicians carried their discovery not as documents, but as memory. Their data, smuggled through France and into Britain, would become the foundation upon which Bletchley Park's genius would later stand. The Polish contribution, quiet, fragile, and profound, was the true genesis of the code-breaking war. They lit the first flame that would later ignite the Allied triumph. Armed with Polish insight, the British codebreakers returned to Bletchley with renewed fury, determined to finish what their European counterparts had begun. The war had reached its breaking point. German U-boats haunted the Atlantic, sinking Allied convoys faster than they could be replaced. Every strike, every ambush, every loss was preceded by a radio signal, encrypted by the Enigma. The codebreakers at Bletchley Park could intercept these messages, but without the daily key settings, they were little more than taunting whispers of fate. The machine had become a living enigma in itself, changing its configuration every 24 hours, as if mocking those who sought to unravel it. The British intelligence network, though brilliant, was losing against time. Each message delayed meant hundreds of lives erased beneath cold, gray waters. Then came a turning point born of obsession and brilliance. Alan Turing, fueled by sleepless nights and an unrelenting mind, proposed a radical solution: to fight machine with machine. His invention, the bomber, was not a weapon in the traditional sense, but a mechanical brain capable of testing millions of letter combinations per minute. As the great metal drums spun and clicked, the rhythm became the heartbeat of Bletchley Park. It was the sound of reason battling chaos. Alongside Turing, engineers and analysts synchronized their minds to the rhythm of the bombs, chasing fragments of truth hidden in endless noise. Breakthroughs came not as explosions, but as quiet moments of realization. One message decrypted, one convoy saved, one enemy plan exposed. For the first time, the Allies could see through the fog of war, anticipating Germany's moves before they happened. Yet victory carried a burden. Every success was measured against secrecy. No clue could be acted upon too obviously, lest the Germans realize their cipher had been compromised. It was a delicate dance between revelation and restraint, fought in absolute silence. But even as the war turned in favor of the Allies, another question began to emerge, one that would haunt the world long after the guns fell silent. When the war finally ended, the battle of machines and minds faded quietly into history, unspoken, unseen, and largely unknown. The men and women of Bletchley Park returned to their ordinary lives, carrying within them secrets that had altered the fate of nations. They could not speak of what they had done, not to their families, not even to each other. The corridors that once buzzed with the urgency of code-breaking now stood silent, and their triumph was sealed under the official Secrets Act. For decades, the world celebrated victories on the battlefield, unaware of the invisible war fought behind closed doors. The codebreakers' legacy lived only in silence, a burden as heavy as the work itself. Yet history, like truth, has a way of resurfacing. When the story of Enigma finally emerged, it reframed the very nature of warfare and technology. Alan Turing, once condemned for his difference and driven to despair, was recognized as one of the founding fathers of modern computing. His logic, born in the chaos of war, became the blueprint for the digital world. What began as an effort to read enemy messages evolved into the foundation of artificial intelligence, cryptography, and cybersecurity. It had simply changed form. In the soft light of reflection, the film closes not with celebration, but with contemplation. The Battle of Minds was more than a wartime story. It was a reminder of the fragile balance between intelligence and morality, secrecy and truth. The Enigma was broken, but its shadow endures in every code, every algorithm, every silent line of logic that governs our modern world. The Enigma was broken, but in its brokenness, it revealed a deeper truth, that the greatest wars are fought not for domination, but for understanding.